Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 50. Have a good one for you today. Today we are going to be talking about a fish that really surprises people when they realize that this fish is a minnow in all actuality. Most people think of minnows as small fish, not this one. Today we are going to be talking about the the Colorado Pikeminnow. So Colorado Pikeminnow, or scientific name Phytocheilus lucius. Again, that is Phytocheilus lucius. Not Phyto, sorry. Phycocheilus. It is part of the family Lucicidae. It used to be part of the family Cyprinidae, but it was split off in 2018 when it was discovered that the Colorado pikeminnow and 3 other species were in fact a complete separate family. Now, the Cyprinidae is the minnow family. Well, they have named the Lucicidae the true minnow family. Not entirely sure why, but this is in fact a minnow. Most people think of minnows as baby fish. They are not. Now, this fish is found in the Colorado River Basin, but it used to be found completely throughout the Colorado River. Found from California, New Mexico, down into Mexico, the entire Colorado River drainage. Because this fish, especially the large individuals, really like to inhabit medium to large rivers. These are not your very small headwater stream fish. These like to be in bigger water in terms of damming and habitat alterations, or have confined the species to the upper Colorado River Basin. Presently, that is one of the biggest problems that is facing the but as I mentioned before, this is a very big minnow. In fact, this is the largest minnow in North America. The largest minnow in North America, one of the largest in the world. There are old reports of individuals that got up to 6 feet, which is about 1.8 meters, and they weighed over 100 pounds, about 45 kilograms. And there are some actual evidences of this as well. You can see here another picture right here. There are some of those reports of 6-foot individuals are actually estimates from skeletal remains, but a number of old people in the community that was interviewed by a newspaper in 1994 reported that those over 6-foot individuals were once common. The catches in the 1960s that were sort of official ranged up to 60 centimeters for an 11-year-old fish, but by the early 1990s, the maximum sizes of these were never more than 34 centimeters. Biologists are now think that the typical size of an adult pike minnow to be that 34 to be between 4 and 9 pounds basically, and that any reports that are over 3 feet long are kind of in question. I'm not entirely sure. They could be, could not be, never know. Colorado River Basin is a very big basin, but there is a lot of efforts going into this fish to now, as you can tell from this picture, it does have that very elongated body, much like a pike. That's kind of what, just think of that. If you know what a pike or a muskellunge is, these things just really look like that. And it helps because they have this very cone shape and flattened. And their head is usually about a quarter of their body length. This is a massive head. Now, as far as colors, they have this kind of olive green, bronzish back that goes into a white bottom. Here you can see one really brightly colored, and you can see this person's holding it out a little extended, but this is definitely a bigger fish than some people would think when they think of minnows. Now the young fish have a dark spot on the caudal fin. That's this tail fin right here. You can kind of see it when they get to adult size, but it's much more prevalent when they're young. Then that's pretty much all you need to know. This real fleshy lipped pike, very simple to identify. The young fish eat insects, and then as they mature, they switch almost entirely. One of the reasons why this fish is in trouble is that they used to be a valuable food source for early settlers. Early settlers would come and just get one of these fish, and you can imagine this very full-bodied fish, especially if they were actually true reports, a 5-foot long fish, would definitely feed a settler family for multiple. Now, in terms of the interesting fact that we're going to end the video, the interesting fact is more about their reproductive habits and why these are kind of in trouble. We alluded to it, the damming and habitat alteration, but why were those so specific to the detriment of this fish? Well, the Colorado pike minnow is adapted to warm rivers, and it requires an interrupted passage and a hydrologic cycle characterized by large spring peaks of snowmelt runoff, then lower relatively stable baseflow, meaning that they require that large spring floods and then stable water for the rest of the time. Well, when damming happens, that cycle usually goes away. Those dams hold the water, create more of a stable flow that never has any pikes. They're trying to remedy that. But one of the reasons why is that the reproducing pike minnow adults, they go to these big whitewater canyons to spawn. And it appears that the pike minnows go to river canyons that have springs, a lot of freshwater springs in the area. And then what they do is they actually migrate. These are a potadromous fish, meaning that they do live in freshwater their entire life, but they migrate back and forth. So the adults will spawn, and then the young will drift down, going to the backwaters, the real slow ones. They'll mature, they'll move out into the kind of the major rivers, and then they'll, as they mature, they actually try and migrate just like salmon up to where they spawn. They have that same that reproductive characteristic that salmon do. And those dams are actually stopping movement upstream because those young fish can go over the dam or through the output of the dam, but they can't migrate upstream. Now they're trying to fix this and they're trying to create a more natural hydrologic cycle and create something called fish ladders, which allow the fish to kind of bypass the dam, physically transporting the fish. There's a ton of efforts. I highly encourage you to go look at all the Colorado river recovery stuff. It's absolutely. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe.